Hello, I'm James Yarbrough, and welcome to We've Got Books. And boy, do we ever. We are two authors, Anne Green and myself, James Yarbrough. We are coming to you from the Big Sky country of the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas. We'll be your hosts for We've Got Books, and we're excited to tell you about our books as well as interviewing other Christian fiction writers about their books. Our goal is to introduce you to some great Christian fiction. Have you ever read a sensational book and wondered about the author? We'll sit around the table chatting to get to know each author and how her book was created. Today, Anne Green is interviewing Jean Pike and discussing her contemporary Christian romance, Superheroes.
Thank you, Jim. So, Jean, before we discuss your novel, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm Jean Pike, and a little bit about myself. Let's see. Well, after spending most of my life in Western New York State, about 10 years ago, I moved to a small town in Southeast Ohio. I have an amazing son and a wonderful daughter-in-law. I'm a grandmother to 4 beautiful little girls. I'm also the proud dog mom of a stubborn senior beagle named Emma. And I'm the author of 12 inspirational women's fiction and Christian romance novels.
Well, Jean, it sounds as if you have a great life. I think our listeners would like to know if in your spare time you enjoy any hobbies.
Well, I like to say that I'm a cashier by day and a writer by night, but truthfully, I'm always writing. I meet a lot of really interesting people throughout the course of my workday, and all of them have a story to tell. They usually want to tell it to somebody. So I've learned to listen carefully to people and encourage them to tell me about themselves. After work, I take it all home to my writing desk and I sort through it to see what might spark a story idea. In my free time, I love to read. I work on jigsaw puzzles. I take Emma for walks around my small town, and there I collect photos and story ideas.
Okay, sounds interesting. With all the intriguing scenes proliferating in your brain, why do you write Christian fiction?
Well, from the first time I heard it, the parable of the talents really resonated pretty deeply with me. God's given each of us talents and abilities, and this parable makes it pretty clear that he expects us to use those talents for his glory. I've been given an amazing gift, not because I'm amazing, but because God is. I strive to use my writing to provide enjoyment and encouragement to my readers, and hopefully be a light in what can sometimes seem a pretty dark world. I love to hear from my readers that my stories, even in some small way, have made their lives better. But more than any reviews or accolades I could ever earn, at the end of the day, I just want to hear my Father say, "Well done."
Absolutely. Hearing my Father say, "Well done," is my goal as well. So, do you have a favorite Bible verse?
Colossians 3:17 pretty much sums up my goal in life and in my writing. And whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him.
Perfect verse for us authors. I'd love for you to give our listeners some details about your newest book, Superheroes.
Oh, I'd love to. Superheroes is a contemporary Christian romance set in this fictional small town of Redford's Crossing, Ohio. My heroine is Abby Callahan. She's tired of being controlled. She moves out of her parents' home to a rented motel room in Redford's Crossing because she wants to gain her independence. The closest thing she has to a friend is a prostitute who lives 2 doors down. Forget about a boyfriend. So why did she say she was bringing a date to the family dinner party? With only 1 week left and no prospects in sight, Abby needs a miracle. My hero, Rory St. George, needs a cashier for the feed store he manages. Abby's the perfect choice. When he asks her out, hoping to propose a job offer, she agrees to go, if he'll accompany her to a family dinner party. Rory's plans don't really include a relationship, but he's drawn to Abby in a way he didn't anticipate. A series of misfortunes threatens to end their relationship before it begins. She's new in town. He's from the wrong side of town. When a life hangs in the balance, can love turn ordinary people into superheroes?
That really sounds intriguing. I do enjoy reading about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. What is your book's takeaway?
Well, Superheroes illustrates that sometimes love comes at a price you weren't prepared to pay. Sometimes love has to be tried by fire to be refined. And sometimes the power of love can turn ordinary people into superheroes.
Oh, I really like that concept. So tell us about the characters in Superheroes.
Okay, kind, impulsive Abby Callahan has had enough of being controlled. After a breakup with her fiance, she strikes out on her own to prove to her family and to herself that she can make it on her own. She doesn't need anyone but God until she meets Rory St. George. Born on the wrong side of town, Rory has spent a lifetime pulling himself out of poverty and trying to escape the dark shadow his father's sins have cast across his life. At 25, he's worked his way up from a stock boy to an assistant store manager. He believes that's as much as a man can ask for in life until he meets Abby Callahan.
Those are great characters. Sounds like a story that will really resonate with a lot of readers. Does Superheroes have any secondary characters?
It does. I enjoyed creating both Abby and Rory's characters a lot, but it was a secondary character that actually stole my heart. I spent more than a dozen years working in special education, and I also have a nephew with disabilities. So the special needs population is pretty dear to my heart. I've always wanted to include a special needs individual in one of my stories, but I kind of struggled with how to do that with grace and dignity. While I was creating a brother for Rory named Ollie, I made a typo, writing Coccee instead of Coffee. And that stood out to me because cocky is how my nephew pronounces the word coffee. I started playing around with the dialogue, and the more Ollie spoke, the more I realized it was time for my special needs character to be born, and it would be Ollie. I hope my readers will love him as much as I do.
Well, I'm sure they will. I can understand why Ollie might steal your readers' hearts. Would you read an excerpt from Superheroes?
Sure. This is from the first chapter. Abby has asked God for a miracle, a date to her family's dinner party. Unbeknownst to Rory, who goes to the mini mart where she works, hoping for an opportunity to ask her out so he can propose a job offer. But Abby's supervisor, Tommy, seems to want to hang around. Here goes. Rory stuffed his change in his pocket. A man stepped into line behind him. 2 more people came through the door. His window of opportunity was closing fast. He stood aside while Abby sold the man 6 scratch-off lottery tickets and a case of soda. If he didn't leave now, he'd be late getting back to work. Go away, Tommy. As if on cue, there was a crash in the back of the store, followed by a child's mournful cries. Now, what did I say? A woman bellowed. Didn't I tell you not to touch stuff? Look what you did. Tommy muttered under his breath and went to the back of the store to investigate. Ah, thank you, Lord. Knowing Tommy would likely be back within minutes, Rory pushed the words out. Hey, did you hear about the light show at the college next Saturday? Yeah, I saw a poster about it on campus. It sounds amazing. So I ended up with an extra ticket. It's not the same as an actual meteor shower, but it might be a close second. Think you can get the night off? Instead of the smile he'd hoped for, her mouth dipped in a slight frown. I already requested next Saturday off, but I'm having dinner with my parents at the Hannibal house. Blooming heck. He composed his face to hide his disappointment. Fancy. Well, it's their 25th wedding anniversary, she explained. Ah, shoot. I'd love to take you up on the laser show ticket, but I can't. I get it. No worries. Now we'd have to think of something else. Unless, would you want to go with me? Dinner is at 6 and the show isn't till 8. Oh, never mind. She flapped her hands at him. It would be awkward for you. My whole family will be there. Tommy was replacing the mop in the utility closet, and Rory was beyond late for work. No, it's cool. We can have dinner with your family first, if you're sure it's okay that I tag along. I'm sure, she said quickly. Are you sure? He shrugged. Why not? She bit down on her bottom lip. Then her face changed as if something monumental had just occurred to her, and she grinned at him. Great. He'd tried to be low-key about it, frame it as just a couple of friends hanging out together for the evening. He hoped she hadn't misunderstood. But why else would she have that thunderstruck expression on her face? Why was she looking at him like he was some kind of superhero? Like he was one of the 7 wonders of the world? Like some kind of miracle had just occurred?
And he sure didn't know that it had. That's an interesting beginning. Already thinking superheroes. Where can we find your book?
Superheroes is available at all major online retailers like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and Google Books. And it's also available in my publisher's bookstore at pelicanbookgroup.com.
Okay. Do you have a website or a newsletter?
I sure do. Readers can read about my daily adventures and random thoughts about life and writing on my blog at mjeanpike.wordpress.com.
Jim Yarbrough here again. What a wonderful interview. Thank you, Jean and Ann. Well, the time has sped by, so we must say goodbye from deep in the heart of Texas and hope you've enjoyed your time with us as much as we've enjoyed having you. Join us next week when we interview our very own author, actually, Anne Green, and hear about her brand new release, an historical novel for such a time, The Story of Jared Ross. This book is hot off the press, and it's a sequel to Trail of Tears, The Story of John Ross. I'm Jim Yarbrough with Anne Green, saying goodbye for now, and read a good book for education, a boost to your day, or just for pure fun. We hope you'll choose one of the fabulous books you've learned about right here on We've Got Books. So see you next time, and keep reading.